Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the H3 Podcast Live. Today, we have an amazing show. I usually say that, but today it's truer than ever, okay? You guys remember him for the last episode. Eric from Internet Comment Etiquette is rejoining us with a new segment, Eric's Conspiracy Closet.
That's right.
Very excited. That's going to be later. We're going to be talking about Flat Earth and all of the wonderful believers and proponents of it.
Yeah.
A little bit later, we have Dan. What do we call it? What was our name for it?
News Den.
The Send Me Nudes. Send Me Nudes.
Den.
Dan, Send Me News. We'll be doing the news again a little bit later after that. We're here with Hila, of course. But here's where shit gets weird and wild. Did I not give you enough time? Here, Hila. But here's where shit gets weird and wild. Hugh Mungus is here from Seattle. The legend came to LA to join us for the specific reason of joining us here on the podcast. I'm honored. I'm blessed. It's a treat to have you here, Rudy. Thanks for coming out and joining us. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Ethan. I'm truly honored myself. I mean, pinch me if I'm not in LA, because I know I'm definitely not in Seattle.
You're not in Seattle.
No, I actually had a Mexican chauffeur pick me up, and I mean, I just felt like I'm right at home. I'm used to the Nordics where I live, and then all of a sudden I'm going, wow, that looks like Junior. Hey, that looks like compadre. Oh, that looks like Ma.
What, is there not a lot of Mexicans in Seattle?
Well, there are, but it's where I live, they've slowly started migrating, and so not very many. I'm the original Mexican gardener from Ballard in North Seattle. The original Mexican gardener from Ballard before they were cool. Now everybody wants a Mexican gardener, and I don't like it because I've got too much competition.
Well, we got it. We got your in. We've got your advertising on deck. Rudy's Gardening. What's the name of your company?
It's Pantoja's Garden.
Pantoja's Garden. Now you got
gotta,
the edge.
I mean to make sure that those people that think I've been brainwashed by the Nordics understand that Nordics don't brainwash me because they're lutefisk. I mean, if I would eat the lutefisk, then I could say they brainwashed me. But
you're talking about the inhabitants of Seattle.
Yeah, the lutefisk is a fish. It's a specialty that
That's my people's food.
That's your people's food?
Is that how you pronounce it? I always thought it was like
lutefisk.
I do have to say, before we get too deep into this conversation, I just have to give a quick thank you to Adult Swim, who sponsoring this episode, brought to you by them, and the newest season of Rick and Morty out July 30th. Mm-hmm. God bless them. Nature's Box, delicious, wonderful snacks. The Black Tux, slick as heck suits and tuxes. And Vincero's classy, affordable watches. More on that later. I'm supposed to do that at the beginning. But I get so wrapped up in this incredible episode that but we'll talk about that later.
More people will see that ad now that you've got the cold open in there.
Yeah, the cold open's in there, and now let's talk.
Gets them ready.
Yeah. Anyway, can you believe that Adult Swim is paying us to promote Rick and Morty?
What is that?
I can.
We'll talk about it later. It's one of the best shows on television. It's unbelievable. It's so great. But at any rate, you were talking about a fish?
Oh yeah, it was a fish, not the fake willy that I had in the back of the truck.
Have you tried it? I've never.
It's actually not very good.
It's what I've heard.
What is this?
But fermented herring.
Herring, yeah.
Oh, this is what they eat in
pickled
Sweden?
herring. Yeah, it's a.
Are you Nordic?
Well, the social justice warriors seem to think I'm Nordic. They think I'm from the northern part of Norway, and because there are brown Norwegians in the northern part of Norway, but no.
There's a conspiracy theory that you're from Norway.
That's what
Because they want you to be white.
They want me to be, and last time I checked, I'm not. I won't go any farther than that. I mean, there's a lady in the house.
What is your background?
It's Mexican American. My grandparents are from Mexico. And my mom's side, I got the German and the Native American.
Wow.
And it was always funny. We'd be around our grandma, who was dark skinned. I got my mom's eyes, grandma's eyes, and I tell you, my grandma used to be called different names back in the 60s and 70s. And she would throw a fit. Oh, my God.
Wait, your grandma was what ethnicity?
Native American.
Okay.
And she was dark. and Grandpa was this tall German guy, and she would get called different. We don't serve people look like you. And she says she's like yay tall, like 5 feet, 6 feet, 5 foot tall, and she would just snap. She'd say, "What'd you say? What'd you say?" So, I'll kick your, you know, I don't want to swear because I know the kids. Yeah, the kids, I don't want to. Well, you know, they kick your
kids.
Kick your.
You know what's funny?
She did swear. Granny was a mouthy piece of work.
I find it pretty interesting that your family actually faced real, like the Native Americans. Talk about a group of people who got absolutely fucked over harder than anyone, and here. They're like they want you to be Swede or like Norwegian.
Well, it's because I'm educated, and our grandma on the Mexican side, she'd always say, "English around the babies, no español, no español," and she was really adamant about it. And our aunts and uncles would be speaking Spanish. She'd cut them off and say, "Education, education, English." So, in high school, I took Japanese. Adios de Mosca. Oh yeah, each Nissan Chico Roxy Chachku. Not Ju. Chu. That's 10 in Japanese.
Was kawaii as fuck.
You know, that's Nihongo, Japanese.
Wait, we all thought that Hugh Mungus was totally adorable, but now you're kawaii to new levels. Do you know what kawaii is?
What's that?
It's adorable.
Oh, kawaii.
Oh my God! I didn't have that accent right.
I can already see the fan art becoming
super. I love it. You're truly Mr. International.
Well, I try to be. You know, but people go to me, "Why don't you go to Mexico?" I said, "Well, my in-laws on the Michoacan Restaurante right there in Crown Hill. If I go there, that's Mexico. Why don't you go to Greece? Well, Taki's mad Greek. You know, they're Greek. And they have the belly dancers on Friday nights, and I go rolling in. "Oh, Rudy, sit down and have some gyro and some lamb." And I'm sitting there, and then and it's just killer. I mean, just how exciting.
Why isn't this podcast there? This place sounds
We
amazing.
should be in Seattle. How do you like Seattle? Like, everyone who's been there tells me it's such an incredible place.
It's absolutely incredible place. There's 30 minutes from the mountains, right next to the water. The only problem is we've got a lot of outsiders coming in and telling somebody like me who's 53 years old that grew up in Seattle how to act and behave. And especially when it was, I swear to God, I have to make this clear. That 30-something-year-old female that jumped my ass at City Hall, she, I'm not saying her name, she jumped my ass, and she needed to know respect for the elders. I mean, I would not do that to her, but where she came off, I had everything in my power not to call her.
Well, you handled yourself with grace, but I want to get into that. I find that whole thing really interesting. You grew up in Seattle. You were there your whole life, pretty much, right?
Yeah, yes.
And so these people like Zarna, can we say her name?
Yeah.
They're like spooky. They're gonna fly in here on a broomstick like in Harry Potter or some shit, like Lord Voldemort.
Is that how she came to Seattle?
It may be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but you're saying they came. Like, do you know where she's from? How long she was there?
You know, I don't know. I'd never seen her. I had to look up social justice warrior. I mean, that's how dumb I was. I mean, so I look up social justice warrior. And go, oh, what's that? She's what? I mean, I had to actually figure this stuff out with a flip phone. So anyway, I mean, I had a flip phone. I mean, I was like, I didn't even see any videos until like a week later. And that day that I left, it was already on CBS radio, and I hadn't heard that either. I'm asking what's going on, and then I get a call from the Yemens, the Arabs in Buffalo. "Hey, Rude Dog, man, you're famous." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "World Star Hip Hop, man. World Star Hip Hop." I said, "What's that?" "I'll send you a link." And so I got this looking at my flip phone, and I'm going, "Well, I got something, but I'm not sure how to turn it on." Now I do. Hugh Mungus forced me to change in so many ways. It was a gift. How I came here, it was a gift. I don't even question it.
Well, one of my questions for you too is like you've become like the legend of Hugh Mungus, and I'm really curious how like that becoming like that new person of like Hugh Mungus has affected your life, because I've seen like on our subreddit You're participating in like school plays. They're making school plays about you. You're running for city council, and you're almost like this mythical figure. It seems like around Seattle. And I'm really curious, how much did this whole ordeal change your life?
I think when it hit me right away, it goes back to the 90s when we stuck fake Willie in the Ballard locks to scare the sea lions.
It goes all the way back to that.
It goes to late 90s.
That's when the legend was born.
Yeah, it was. New York Times called me Seattle civic prankster. And
by the way, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, there was an image of you with a giant killer whale in the back of your truck, and you were trying to like pawn it.
It was
because you had medical bills, and that's why we made the whole fundraiser.
Right. It was. I was desperate to make sure that this medical was paid, at least my insurance, and I wanted to pay it like 2 or 3 months in advance to allow my hip to heal. And so I put it in the back of the truck, driving it around, doing yard service, leaf blowing and stuff. And I had offered $500, and I wasn't going to give it up for $500. I could go hawk my blower. You know, I mean, forget that. I'm not going to, pawn off my tools. I need my tools, and I'm not going to give away the people's whale for $500.
The people's whale.
It's the people's whale, and so now that
it's worth. I'd sell the people's whale for $1,000.
I was going anywhere from 35 to 5, and I didn't get any.
Did you get anywhere close? I
was close. I got
really.
Like,
what was the most offer?
2,500.
For who was going to buy it? I'm curious.
There was talk about sticking it on top of a casino sign.
Wow.
And I go, well, fake Willie is not. He's not a gambling type. You know what? That wouldn't be the best.
This is the people's whale.
So what happened with
and she is now. It's a female orca. Oh. She's now at the Ballard Locks in Seattle, and she's on display with the history of how she came from Scotland to Seattle, and how the local KISW rock and roll listeners donated to the fund to bring this well and stick it in the Ballard Locks to use as a scarecrow, and we were calling it People Interested Saving Steelhead Sea Lions at the Ballard Locks.
Oh, my God.
That's an acronym for something that was not very popular at the time.
What was the acronym stand for? I can't do the math.
Piss at the logs. One last shot before you shoot.
Piss at the logs.
At the locks. Ballard Locks.
Wow.
And if we were going, give one last shot before you shoot, and the PTA moms just went ballistic. Oh, you need to take that down. So we did a vote on the air with the KISW rock and roll listeners, Bob Rivers, Twisted Radio, and we go, what do you think? Screw those politicians. You know what? The name stands. We support people interested. So we took a Democratic vote in the state. And so that's the history of it. And
did it pass? Did the name remain?
Yeah. The listeners it was overwhelming. And so I called up the council members down at City Hall, and I said, I just want you to know that you were outvoted and the name stands.
People's will stands.
That stands. People interested.
Sounds like you're just you're like a Seattle troll.
Well, I just troll around. That's a gardener. They know gardeners.
The legend was born. I could definitely see how the legend was born.
And since then, being the local gardener, it's been called Como Chili, Root Dog. The ladies would go, oh, Root Dog, you want to go play some golf? This is the moms. The moms. It's actually funnier than stuff.
They say that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Root Dog. Oh.
I cannot imagine that.
Yeah, that goes out the window. I know. I'm in the pickup truck, and it just that was something that's happened over the years. And but this Hugh Mungus thing, it was a slip of the tongue. The smirk. If you only knew what I was thinking in my head on the smirk, I had to stop.
What was it? Let's get in the mind.
Well, I was thinking H.M. Teets.
H.M. Teets?
Mm-hmm. My name is H.M. Hugh M. Teets.
Hugh M. Teets.
But what happened is...
Wait, what does that mean?
So I cut out the teats and put Mungus slipped out of my mouth instead of going HM.
But what was it supposed to be?
It was supposed to be Hugh Mungus Teats.
Hugh Mungus teats. That's still not that bad.
But I didn't say it. I was gonna. But I see. I was when I said it, and when
really
I
not
said
that
it,
vulgar.
I backed off, and I get the smirk. And I said, "Don't say it," because she's just like, this is a domestic dispute. Seriously, looking ready to go to have a conniption fit, gone tizzy bad. And so I was just thinking about my hip, walking out that door, getting down the stairs, getting away from this young woman. And boy, then she kept egging me on.
Well, she was looking. This is what they do. These